Captain Tae-ho Kim stood in the command center of Earth's biggest space station. The year was 2157, and humanity had finally built ships that could travel between stars. Today was special. Today, they would talk to the galaxy for the first time. Tae-ho looked at the big screen showing empty space. Somewhere out there were other people on other worlds. Maybe they were friendly. Maybe they would want to be friends with humans. He hoped so. Are we ready? Tae-ho asked his team. Yes, sir, said his communication officer. The message will go to every star system we can reach. Tae-ho picked up the microphone. His heart beat fast. These words would be the first time aliens heard about Earth and humans. He wanted to get it right. This is Captain Tae-ho Kim of Earth, he said into the microphone. We are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace. We want to learn about the galaxy and make friends with other people among the stars. We are new to space travel, but we are ready to join the galactic community. The message went out into space at the speed of light. It would take years to reach some places, but it was done. Humanity had said hello to the universe. On the other side of the galaxy, War Prime Veltar of the Vorthan Empire sat in his war room. His people had ruled this part of space for 1,000 years. They were strong and smart. Other alien races feared them. Veltar was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His yellow eyes glowed when he was angry. Right now he was very angry. A new species, he said to his officers. Show me this message again. They played Tae-ho's message on the big screen. Veltar listened carefully. These humans sounded young and weak, but they had learned to travel between stars. That was dangerous. Where did this come from? Veltar asked. A small system near the edge of our territory, said one officer. The planet is called Earth. We count about 8 billion humans living there. Veltar thought about this. New species were always trouble. They thought they could do whatever they wanted. They did not understand the rules of space. Someone had to teach them. Send a scout ship, Veltar ordered. Give them the warning. If they are smart, they will listen. Commander Yunbi Park was working late at Luna Station when the alarms started, ringing. Luna Station was built on Earth's moon. It watched for dangers coming from space. Tonight, something big was coming. Commander Park, called her officer. We have a ship approaching. It's not human. Yunbi ran to the control room. On the screen, she could see a ship unlike anything humans had ever built. It was black and silver with strange curves. It moved, without making any sound or light from engines. How big is it? She asked. About 2 kilometers long, the officer said. It's slowing down. I think it wants to talk. Yunbi felt scared and excited at the same time. This was humanity's first. Contact with aliens. She had to handle this right. Send a message, she said. Tell them we want to talk in peace. The alien ship stopped just outside Earth's moon. Then a voice came through their speakers. It spoke perfect English, which surprised everyone. I am Commander Zekimar of the Vorthan Empire, the voice said. I carry a message for your species. This is Commander Yunbi Park of Luna Station, she replied. We welcome you to our system. This is not a welcome visit, the alien said. His voice was cold and hard. Your species has sent messages into space. This was a mistake. You are not ready for what lives in the darkness between stars. Yunbi did not understand. We only wanted to make friends. Friends? The alien laughed, but it was not a happy sound. You know nothing of the galaxy. There are things out here that would eat your world for breakfast. There are wars that have lasted for 10,000 years. There are empires that crush entire species for fun. The alien ship moved closer to the moon. Yunbi could see its weapons now. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Your species shows promise, the alien continued. You have learned to travel between stars quickly. That is impressive. But you are like children playing with fire. You will burn yourselves and others if you continue. What do you want us to do? Yunbi asked. Go back to your planet, the alien said. Stay in your home system. Do not send more messages into space. Do not build more ships that can travel to other stars. This is your warning. There will not be another one. Yunbi felt angry. You cannot tell us what to do. Space belongs to everyone? Space belongs to those strong enough to take it, the alien replied. Watch and learn. The alien ship turned toward the asteroid belt. There were 3 big rocks floating in space near Mars. Each one was as big as a mountain. The alien ship pointed one small weapon at the first asteroid. A beam of blue light shot out. The asteroid exploded into dust in 1 second. The alien ship fired 2 more times. 2 more asteroids disappeared completely. Everyone at Luna Station watched in shock. Those asteroids had been solid rock and metal. The alien weapon had destroyed them like they were made of paper. Do you understand now? The alien asked. Your strongest weapons could not scratch our weakest ship. If you continue to spread into space, we will have no choice but to remove the threat you represent. Yunbi's hands shook as she held the microphone. We understand. Good, the alien said. Remember this warning. Share it with your leaders. If we detect human ships beyond this system, we will return. Next time, we will not be so gentle. The alien ship turned and disappeared into hyperspace, moving faster than light. It was gone, in seconds, leaving only empty space and the dust of 3 destroyed asteroids. Yunbi sat down hard in her chair. She had to call Earth immediately. The leaders needed to know about this. Humanity had reached for the stars and been slapped down by something far stronger than they had imagined. But as she picked up the communication device, she noticed something strange. Despite the fear and shock, despite the terrible warning they had received, she was smiling. The aliens had shown their power to scare humans away. They had no idea what humans did when someone tried to scare them. Dr. Min-Ho Lee and Admiral So-Young Choi spent the next week studying the video of the alien demonstration. They watched the asteroids explode over and over, trying to understand the technology. The energy output is incredible, Min-Ho said. That one beam contained more power than our largest nuclear bomb, and they used it like it was nothing. So-Young replied. Just a small warning shot. They sat in silence for a moment, thinking about what this meant for humanity. The aliens were right about one thing. Humans were not ready for a fight against technology like this. But humans had never been good at doing what they were told, especially when someone threatened them. Admiral, Min-Ho said quietly. Are we really going to stop exploring space because they told us to? So, Young looked at him with a dangerous smile. Doctor, in the entire history of humanity, has anyone ever successfully told us to stop doing something by threatening us? Min-Ho smiled back. No, Admiral, they have not. Then I think we have work to do. 6 months had passed since the aliens warned humanity to stay home. Earth's leaders had met many times to discuss what to do. Some wanted to listen to the warning, others wanted to keep exploring space. Captain Hyun-Woo Nam belonged to the second group. He stood on the bridge of his ship, the Earth's Dream, as it prepared to leave the solar system. Behind him flew 5 more human ships, all heading for different star systems. Captain, said his navigation officer, we are ready to jump to hyperspace. Hyun-Woo nodded. Take us to the Proxima system. It's time to show the galaxy that humans don't give up easily. The ships disappeared into hyperspace, breaking the aliens' rule. Earth's government had decided to call the aliens bluff. If humanity stopped exploring now, they would always be prisoners in their own solar system. At the same time, engineer Ye-Jin Song was working in a secret laboratory on Mars. She had spent 6 months studying the video of the alien weapon destroying the asteroids. She was trying to figure out how their technology worked. The energy beam appears to work by breaking apart the basic structure of matter, she explained to her team. But our computer models show it should take much more power than what we observed. Her Assistant looked confused. What does that mean? It means they have technology we don't understand yet, Yejin said. But it also means we might be able to defend against it if we can build the right kind of shield. She had been working on a new type of energy barrier based on the alien weapon data. It was not ready yet, but she was getting closer every day. Meanwhile, in Vorthan space, War Prime Veltar was receiving very bad news. The humans have ignored our warning, reported his intelligence officer. We have detected 6 of their ships leaving their home system. Veltar's yellow eyes glowed brighter with anger. Impossible. No species has ever ignored our warning before. The humans appear to be different, War Prime. They have established small colonies in 3 different systems. They are building bases and sending more ships. Veltar stood up from his command chair. He was very tall, and when he was angry, he looked even more frightening than usual. Send 3 warships, he ordered. Destroy their colonies and capture any humans you can find. We will make an example of them for the rest of the galaxy, too. See? The 3 Vorthan warships were each the size of a city. They carried enough weapons to destroy entire planets. Their crews had conquered many worlds before. They expected this mission to be easy. Captain Jae-min Ko was having breakfast on his battleship, Soul's Fury, when the alarm started ringing. His ship was protecting the new human colony in the Wolf system. Captain, called his officer, 3 alien ships just appeared in the system. They're heading straight for us. Jae-min put down his coffee and walked to the bridge. Soul's Fury was the biggest warship humanity had ever built, but it was still tiny compared to the alien ships approaching them. How long until they reach us? He asked. 20 minutes, sir. Jae-min thought about his options. He could try to run, but the alien ships were faster. He could surrender, but that would mean giving up the colony and all the people on it. Or he could fight, even though the odds were terrible. Being human, there was really only one choice. All ships. This is Captain Ko, he said into his communicator. Prepare for battle. We're going to show these aliens what happens when they threaten human colonies. The Vorthan ships slowed down as they approached the human fleet. There were only 4 human ships compared to their 3, but the Vorthan ships were much larger and more powerful. The lead Vorthan captain sent a message to the humans. Surrender immediately. Your species was warned to stay in your home system. Now you will face the consequences of your disobedience. Jae-min smiled as he picked up the communicator. His response would be remembered across the galaxy for years to come. You warned us once, he said calmly. We heard you loud and clear. Here's our answer. Soul's Fury opened fire with every weapon it had. The other human ships did the same. The space around them filled with missiles, laser beams, and plasma bolts. The Vorthan ships were surprised by the sudden attack. They had expected the humans to surrender or at least try to negotiate. Instead, the humans had attacked immediately with everything they had. The Vorthan shields absorbed most of the human weapons, but not all of them. Several missiles got through and exploded against their hull. It did not do much damage, but it shocked the Vorthan crews. No primitive species had ever hurt them before. The Vorthan ships began to fight back. Their weapons were much more powerful than anything the humans had. Soul's Fury took a direct hit and lost half its shields in one blast. But the humans kept fighting. They used tactics the Vorthans had never seen before. Instead of trying to match the aliens' firepower, they attacked from many directions at once. They used asteroids as cover and even rammed their smaller ships into the alien vessels. Lieutenant Ha Rin-Yu was flying a small fighter when her ship was badly damaged. Her engines were failing and her weapons were gone. She could have tried to escape. But instead, she did something that shocked everyone watching. She turned her fighter toward the bridge of the nearest Vorthan ship and pushed her engines to maximum power. "This is for Earth!" she shouted over the radio. And then she was laughing as her ship smashed into the alien bridge at full speed. The explosion destroyed the fighter completely, but it also knocked out the Vorthan ship's command center. The Alien vessel began spinning out of control, unable to steer or fight effectively. The battle continued for 2 hours. The humans lost 3 ships, but they had badly damaged 2 Vorthon vessels and forced the third to retreat. Most importantly, they had saved the colony. As the surviving Vorthon ships limped away, their crews were silent with shock. They had just been defeated by a species that was supposed to be primitive and weak. Even worse, the humans had seemed to enjoy the fight. They had been laughing and shouting challenges even as their ships were being destroyed. The Vorthon captain sent an urgent message back to War Prime Veltar. "The humans are not what we expected. They do not fight like any species we have encountered before. Request immediate reinforcements." Back on the human ships, the mood was very different. Despite their losses, the crews were celebrating. They had faced the aliens' superior technology and proven that humans could fight back. Captain Jamin Ko looked at the damage reports from his ship. Sol's Fury would need major repairs, but it was still flying. More importantly, they had sent a message to the galaxy. "Communications officer," he said, "broadcast this battle footage to every human ship and colony. Make sure Earth Command sees everything." "Yes, sir." "What should we tell them?" Jamin smiled. "Tell them that when someone threatens humanity, we don't back down. We fight back, and we smile while we do it." The news of the battle spread quickly, through human space. Instead of being scared by the alien attack, more humans volunteered to join the space fleet. Engineers worked around the clock to build better weapons and ships. Engineer Ye-Jin Song watched the battle footage carefully. She noticed that the human weapons had been more effective than expected. The Vorthon shields were powerful, but they were not perfect. "I think we can do better," she told her team. "If we can build ships with my new shield technology and improve our weapons, we might have a real chance in the next fight." "You think there will be a next fight?" her assistant asked. Ye-Jin looked at the video of Lieutenant Ha-Rin Yu ramming her fighter into the alien ship while laughing. "I think the aliens have no idea what they just started. Humans don't give up, ever." Across the galaxy, other alien species had also detected the battle. The Kalari Collective and the Thulon Federation, both former enemies of the Vorthans, watched with interest. "The humans actually fought back," said a Kalari leader to his council. "And they damaged Vorthon ships." "Impossible," replied another. "The Vorthons are too powerful. These humans must have been very lucky." "Maybe," said the first leader, "or maybe we have all been too afraid for too long." On Earth, Admiral So-Young Choi received the battle reports with mixed feelings. She was proud of the human crews who had fought so bravely, but she knew this was just the beginning. The Vorthans would not accept this defeat quietly. "How many ships can we have ready for battle in the next month?" she asked her staff. "About 50, Admiral, but they're still not as powerful as the Vorthon vessels." "Then we'll have to be smarter and braver," So-Young said. "Send a message to all human colonies and ships. Tell them that we are officially at war with the Vorthon Empire, and tell them something else." "What's that, Admiral?" So-Young smiled the same dangerous smile she had shown Dr. Min-Ho Lee 6 months ago. "Tell them that humanity has never lost. A war we really wanted to win. We're not going to start now." War Prime Veltar was done playing games with the humans. The reports from his defeated ships had made him very angry. No primitive species had ever damaged Vorthon warships before. This could not be allowed to continue. "Mobilize the entire war fleet," he ordered his generals. 300 ships, enough to destroy every human colony and ship in space. His officers looked shocked. 300 ships was enough to conquer entire star systems. It seemed like too much for fighting humans. "War Prime," said one general carefully. "Perhaps we are overreacting. The humans only have a few dozen ships." Veltar's yellow eyes glowed dangerously. "The humans have already proven they are more dangerous than we thought. We will not make the mistake of underestimating them again. When we finish with them, every species in the galaxy will remember what happens to those who defy the Vorthon Empire. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Boram Kang was preparing for the biggest battle in human history. Intelligence reports said the Vorthans were gathering hundreds of ships. Humanity had less than 100 vessels that could fight in space. "We need every advantage we can get," Boram told her staff. "What do we have?" Dr. Chang Soo-yoon stepped forward. He had been working with teams across human space to turn civilian equipment into weapons. "We've converted mining lasers into ship weapons," he reported. "The terraforming engines can be used as powerful bombs. Even our cargo ships can carry missiles now." "What about our secret projects?" Boram asked. "Engineer Yejin Song has finished her new shield technology. It won't stop everything, but it should help. And Captain Dong-hyun Seo has volunteered to lead a special attack unit." Boram knew about Dong-hyun's unit. They called themselves the Kamikaze Corps, named after ancient Earth warriors who had sacrificed themselves in battle. Their plan was to pilot ship-sized missiles directly into enemy vessels. "How many volunteers do we have for the Kamikaze Corps?" she asked. "Too many," Chang Soo replied sadly. "We had to turn people away. Everyone wants to fight." The Vorthon fleet arrived at Proxima Station 3 weeks later. Proxima Station was humanity's biggest base outside the solar system. 5,000 humans lived and worked there, building ships and supplies for the colonies. Commander Hyo Jung-bai watched the enemy fleet approach on her screens. There were so many Vorthon ships that they blocked out the stars. Her own fleet had only 20 ships to defend the station. "Commander," said her communications officer, "the Vorthons are sending a message." The alien War Prime appeared on the main screen. He looked even more frightening than the other Vorthons, with scars covering his gray face and arms. "I am War Prime, Veltar of the Vorthon Empire," he said. "You will surrender immediately, or we will destroy every human in this system." Hyo-jung looked around at her crew. They were all young humans who had volunteered to defend the station. They looked scared, but none of them looked ready to give up. "This is Commander Hyo Jung-bai," she replied. "We will not surrender. This station belongs to humanity, and we will defend it." Veltar laughed. "You have 20 ships against 300. Your resistance is pointless." "Maybe," Hyo-jung said, "but we're human. Pointless resistance is what we do best." She cut the communication and turned to her crew. "Begin broadcasting on all frequencies. I want the entire galaxy to hear this." The battle began immediately. The Vorthon ships opened fire with their powerful weapons, trying to destroy the human fleet quickly. But the humans had learned from their previous fight. Engineer Yejin Song's new shields were installed on every human ship. They were not as strong as Vorthon shields, but they were better than anything humans had used before. Several ships survived hits that should have destroyed them. Captain Dong-hyun Seo led his Kamikaze Corps into the heart of the enemy fleet. His fighters were small and fast, carrying huge explosive charges. The Vorthons tried to shoot them down, but there were too many attacking from all directions. "This is Seo," he called over the radio as he aimed his fighter at a Vorthon cruiser. "See you on the other side." His ship smashed into the alien vessel and exploded with the force of a small nuclear bomb. The Vorthon cruiser broke in half and began to fall toward the nearby planet. Other kamikaze pilots followed his example. They flew their ships directly into enemy vessels, laughing and shouting challenges over the radio. The Vorthons had never faced an enemy willing to die just to hurt them. But there were too many enemy ships. One by one, the human vessels were destroyed or badly damaged. Commander Hyo Jung-bae watched her fleet disappear from her screens. "Commander," said her weapons officer, "we're the last ship left. All the others are gone." Hyo-jung looked at Proxima, stationed on her screen. The civilian families there were counting on her to protect them. But her ship was surrounded by 50 Vorthon vessels, and her weapons were almost out of ammunition. "Begin the final broadcast," she ordered. The communications officer opened a channel to the entire galaxy. Hyo-jung picked up the microphone, knowing these would be her last words. "This is Commander Hyojung Bay of the Earth Defense Force," she said calmly. "Our ships are destroyed. Our station is about to fall, but we want the galaxy to know something important." She paused as another Vorthon energy blast hit her ship. The lights flickered, but the communication system still worked. "Humanity does not surrender," she continued. "We do not bow to tyrants. We do not accept defeat, even when defeat is certain. We go into the darkness with fire in our hearts and laughter on our lips." The Vorthon ships were closing in, preparing to destroy her vessel. Hyojung smiled as she reached for the button that would overload her ship's reactor. To any humans listening to this message, remember us. Remember that we fought until the end. And remember that every human who dies fighting for freedom makes the next human stronger. She looked at her crew one last time. They were all smiling too, even though they knew they were about to die. "See you in hell," she said, and pressed the button. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. Hyojung's ship had become a miniature star for just a few seconds, taking 12 Vorthon ships with it in the blast. The galaxy listened to the broadcast in stunned silence. Most species had never heard anything like it. When faced with certain death, the humans had not begged for mercy or tried to negotiate. They had chosen to die fighting, and they had done it with joy in their voices. On the Kalari homeworld, the collective leaders gathered to discuss what they had heard. "The humans fought 300 ships with 20, said their war leader, "and they smiled while they died." "The Vorthons lost 15 ships in that battle," added another. 15 ships to destroy 20 human vessels and 1 space station. That is not the easy victory they expected. "Perhaps," said their eldest leader slowly, "we have been too quick to accept Vorthon rule. If these young humans can fight back, maybe we can too." Similar conversations were happening across the galaxy. The Thulon Federation, the Mindari Consortium, and dozens of other species began to wonder if the Vorthans were really as invincible as they claimed. War Prime Veltar stood in his command chamber, looking at the damage reports. He had won the battle, but it had cost him more ships than he had expected. Worse, the human broadcast was being repeated on every frequency in the galaxy. "Sir," said his communication officer, "we're receiving messages from several species. They're asking about the human claims of Vorthon tyranny." "Ignore them," Veltar snapped. "Send a message to all human settlements. Tell them they have one. Weak to surrender completely, or we will destroy every human world." But privately, Veltar was worried. The humans had shown the galaxy something dangerous, that the Vorthons could be hurt. If other species started to believe that, his empire might face rebellions everywhere. On Earth, people watched the recording of Hyojung's final message over and over. Instead of being discouraged by the defeat, humans became more determined to fight. Recruitment centers were flooded with volunteers. Factories worked around the clock to build new ships and weapons. Children as young as 16 lied about their age to join the military. Admiral Boram Kang received reports from across human space. Every colony, every ship, every station was preparing for war. "Admiral," said her aide, "we're receiving volunteer pilots from the outer colonies. They want to join new kamikaze units." "How many?" Boram asked. "Over 10,000 so far. They all heard Commander Bay's broadcast. They want to fight like she did." Boram felt proud and sad at the same time. Humanity was showing its best qualities: courage, determination, and refusal to give up. But so many young people were volunteering to die. "Set up training programs for them," she ordered. "And start building the biggest missiles we can carry on our ships. If humans are going to die fighting, we'll make sure each death costs the enemy as much as possible." Dr. Chang Su-yoon had been working on new weapons based on what they learned from the Proxima battle. The Vorthon ships were strong, but they had weaknesses. "Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons," he explained to Boram. "But physical attacks work better. That's why the kamikaze attacks were so effective. What do you suggest? Boram asked. We build ships that are basically flying bombs. Not small fighters, but huge vessels carrying nuclear weapons. If we can get them close enough to the enemy fleet, one ship could destroy dozens of Vorthon vessels. Across the galaxy, other alien species were paying close attention to the war between humans and Vorthons. The Kalari Collective had been under Vorthon rule for 200 years. The Thulon Federation had been conquered 300 years ago. Both species had given up hope of freedom long ago, but now they were watching something impossible happen. The humans were not just fighting back against the Vorthons. They were actually winning some battles. Kalari war leader Theskal called a secret meeting of his people's council. They met in hidden caves, far from any Vorthon listening devices. The humans destroyed 15 Vorthon ships at Proxima Station, he told the gathered leaders. 15 ships that were supposed to be invincible. But they still lost the battle, pointed out another Kalari. Their station was destroyed and their fleet was wiped out. Yes, Theskal agreed. But they made the Vorthons pay a heavy price. And did you hear their final message? They spoke of freedom like it was still possible. The Kalari had bioships that could grow and heal themselves. Under Vorthon rule, they were only allowed to build small vessels for peaceful purposes. But in their hidden shipyards, they had been secretly growing larger ships for years. What are you suggesting? Asked the eldest Kalari. I'm suggesting we remember what it means to be free, Theskal replied. The humans have shown us that the Vorthons can be beaten. Maybe it's time we stopped being slaves. Meanwhile, the human war effort was growing stronger despite their losses. Private Sang-Ho Rim had developed a new tactic that shocked even his own commanders. Sang-Ho's job was to lead boarding parties onto enemy ships. But instead of using normal assault shuttles, he had a crazy idea. His team would hide inside the wreckage of destroyed human ships, waiting for Vorthon salvage crews to bring them aboard. It's insane, Admiral Boram Kang said, when she heard the plan. You'll be floating in space with no life support, waiting for the enemy to pick you up. Yes, Admiral, Sang-Ho replied with a grin, but they'll never expect it. We can take over their ships from the inside. The plan worked perfectly. Sang-Ho and his team hid inside a damaged human fighter and waited. When the Vorthon cruiser tried to study the wreckage, they brought it into their cargo bay. Sang-Ho's team then cut their way out and attacked the ship from within. The Vorthans were not prepared for close combat inside their own vessels. Within 2 hours, Sang-Ho's team had captured the entire cruiser and were flying it back to human space. How did you do it? Boram asked when they returned. Vorthans are used to fighting at long range with energy weapons, Sang-Ho explained. They're not good at hand-to-hand fighting in narrow corridors. Plus, they panicked when humans started popping out of their own cargo hold. Colonel Mi-sun Park was working on a different kind of warfare. She had studied the psychological profiles of captured Vorthans and discovered something interesting. They're not used to chaos, she told her team. Vorthon society is very organized and predictable. They follow strict rules and expect their enemies to do the same. Mi-sun created special radio broadcasts designed to confuse and frighten Vorthan crews. The broadcasts contained human music, poetry, and battle cries, all mixed together in ways that made no logical sense. The idea is to make them think we're completely crazy, she explained. If they can't predict what we'll do next, they'll start making mistakes. The broadcasts worked even better than expected. Vorthan ships began refusing to fight human vessels alone, afraid of what unpredictable tactics the humans might use next. But the most impressive human innovation came from an unexpected source. Wu Jin Han was only 17 years old, but he was a genius with computers. He had been studying captured Vorthon technology and noticed something important. Their artificial intelligence systems are very advanced, he told Dr. Chang Su-yoon, but they're also very rigid. They follow programming rules exactly, with no creativity or improvisation. "What does that mean for us?" Chang-Su asked. "It means I can hack them," Wu Jin said with a smile. "I've written a virus that will make their AI systems think we're giving them orders instead of attacking them." The first test of Wu Jin's virus was spectacular. A Vorthon patrol ship suddenly turned around and began attacking its own fleet. The confusion lasted for several minutes before the Vorthons figured out what was happening. "It won't work every time," Wu Jin admitted. "They'll learn to defend against it. But for now, we can turn their own ships against them." Admiral Kyung-Ho Shin was in charge of coordinating these new tactics. He realized that other alien species were starting to pay attention to humanity's unconventional warfare. "We're getting secret messages from several species," he reported to Fleet Command. "The Kalari, the Thulon, even some Mindari groups. They want to know more about our tactics." "Are they offering to help?" asked Admiral Bo Ram Kang. "Not openly. But they're sharing intelligence about Vorthan ship movements and weak points. I think they want us to succeed." This intelligence was very valuable. The aliens knew things about Vorthon technology that humans were still learning. They shared information about shield frequencies, weapon ranges, and ship designs. But the most important message came from Captain Young-Suk Lee, who was leading a deep reconnaissance mission in Vorthon space. "Admiral," she reported over a heavily encrypted channel, "I've discovered something terrible. The Vorthons are planning to destroy Earth itself. They're gathering a planet-killer weapon at their home system." Bo-Ram felt cold fear in her stomach. A planet-killer weapon could destroy Earth and everyone on it. 8 billion humans would die in minutes. "How long do we have?" she asked. "Maybe 2 weeks before they're ready to attack," Young-Suk replied. "But there's something else. The weapon is located at their home system. If we could somehow destroy it there, we might be able to hurt them badly." Bo-Ram thought about this. Attacking the Vorthon home system would be like flying into the heart of enemy territory. It would be suicide for any human fleet, but it might also be humanity's only chance to survive. "Captain Lee," she said, "begin detailed reconnaissance of the Vorthon home system. Find out everything you can about their defenses and the location of that weapon." "Yes, Admiral. But even if we can locate it, how do we get close enough to destroy it? Their home system will be the most heavily defended place in their empire." Bo-Ram was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then she remembered something Dr. Chang Su-Yoon had said about building ships that were basically flying bombs. "Captain, what's the biggest nuclear weapon we can fit on a single ship?" "A very big one, Admiral. But the ship would have to be huge, and whoever pilots it would never come back." "Start building it," Bo-Ram ordered, "and send word to all human colonies. We need volunteers for the most dangerous mission in human history." Within hours, the word spread through human space. They were looking for volunteers to pilot a massive bomb ship into the heart of enemy territory. It was a one-way mission with almost no chance of survival. The response shocked even the military commanders. Thousands of humans volunteered immediately. Pilots, engineers, soldiers, even civilians who had never been in space before wanted to join the mission. "Why are so many people volunteering?" Bo-Ram asked her aide. They all heard Commander Hyo-jung. "Bei's final message," the aide replied. "They want to die like she did, fighting for freedom and protecting Earth." The Vorthons, meanwhile, were struggling with their own problems. War Prime Veltar was receiving reports of equipment failures, communication breakdowns, and mysterious behavior from their AI systems. "The humans are using some kind of electronic warfare," his technical officer reported. "Our ships are becoming unreliable when they fight human vessels." "How is that possible?" Veltar demanded. "Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs." "They're not trying to match our technology, War Prime. They're using their primitive systems to attack our advanced ones in ways we never expected." Veltar was also receiving disturbing reports from across his empire. Several subject species were showing signs of rebellion. They were asking questions about Vorthon rule and demanding more freedom. "It's the human broadcasts," his intelligence Chief explained. Their final messages are being repeated on underground channels throughout our territory. Some species are starting to believe they can fight back too. Veltar realized that the humans were more dangerous than he had thought. They were not just fighting a military war, they were fighting an idea war. The idea that freedom was possible, that tyranny could be resisted, that small species could defeat large empires. Accelerate the Planet Killer Project, he ordered. We need to destroy Earth before their rebellion spreads to our other subjects. But he was already too late. Across the galaxy, enslaved species were beginning to remember what freedom meant. The humans had lit a fire that would be very hard to put out. On the Thulon homeworld, resistance fighters were meeting in secret. They had hidden weapons and ships, for generations, waiting for the right moment to rebel. The humans have proven it can be done, their leader whispered to the gathered fighters. If we coordinate our uprising with their attack on the Vorten home system, we might actually win. Similar meetings were happening on dozens of worlds. The Vorten Empire was about to face its greatest crisis in 1,000 years, and it all started because they had tried to scare a species that didn't know how to be scared. The final battle began in the Vorthon home system. Fleet Admiral Bo-Ram Kang stood on the bridge of her flagship, Indomitable Earth, watching enemy ships fill the space around them. This was humanity's entire remaining fleet, 50 ships against 300 defending the Vorthon homeworld. Admiral, said her navigation officer, we're detecting the planet killer weapon. It's attached to their largest space station, orbiting the main planet. Bo-Ram could see it on the main screen. The weapon was enormous, bigger than a city. If it reached Earth, it would destroy her home planet and everyone she had ever known. All ships. This is Admiral Kang, she said into her communicator. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for every free being in the galaxy. Show them what humans do when someone threatens our home. Engineer Tae-Young Kim was preparing his special ship for the final attack. His vessel was called the Earthbreaker, and it was the largest bomb ever built by humans. The entire ship was basically a flying nuclear weapon with engines attached. The ship is ready, Admiral, he reported. Once I start the final approach, there's no turning back. The weapon will explode whether I reach the target or not. Understood, Engineer Kim. Wait for my signal. Dr. Sunmi Cho was working frantically on her own project. She had figured out how to make the system's star unstable. If her calculations were correct, she could cause a solar flare that would damage every ship in the system, including the human ones. It's ready, she reported. But Admiral, this will hurt our ships too. We might not survive the radiation. Dr. Cho, Bo-Ram replied, if we don't stop that planet killer, Earth dies anyway. Do it. The battle began with the largest space fight in galactic history. Human ships spread out across the system, attacking from every direction at once. They used every trick they had learned. Ramming attacks, computer viruses, psychological warfare, and suicide bombers. Captain Sung Ho Lim was coordinating with alien allies who had secretly joined the fight. The Kalari bioships appeared from hyperspace, their living hulls gleaming in the starlight. The Thulon quantum disruptors materialized from nowhere, already firing at Vorthon vessels. This is Kalari war leader Theskal, came a voice over the radio. We stand with humanity today. For freedom. Thulon Federation ships, ready for battle, added another voice. The time of slavery is over. Even the peaceful Mindari had sent ships. They were not fighters, but they provided crucial intelligence about Vorten ship positions and weaknesses. War Prime Veltar watched in growing horror as his empire began to collapse around him. Rebellions were breaking out on dozens of worlds. His own ships were being attacked by former subjects who had found the courage to fight back. How many rebel ships are in the system? He demanded. Over 100, War Prime. Every species we have conquered is sending ships to help the humans. Veltar realized that he was not just fighting humanity anymore. He was fighting everyone who had ever been oppressed by his empire. The humans had given them something more dangerous than weapons. They had given them hope. The space battle raged for hours. Human ships fought with their usual crazy bravery, ramming enemy vessels and laughing as they died. But now they were not alone. Kalari bioships regenerated damage faster than the Vorthons could inflict it. Thulon's ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking and vanishing before the enemy could respond. Engineer Tae-Young Kim watched the battle from his bomb ship, waiting for the right moment to attack. The planet-killer weapon was heavily defended, but the Allied fleet was slowly clearing a path. "Kim, this is Admiral Kang. You have a clear approach window in 60 seconds. Begin your run!" Tae-Young started his engines and headed toward the massive weapon. His ship was slow and heavily loaded, making it an easy target. Vorthon fighters swarmed around him, trying to destroy his vessel before it could reach the target. But other human ships moved to protect him. Fighter pilots sacrificed themselves to keep the enemy away from the Earthbreaker. Even damaged ships used their last weapons to clear Tae-Young's path. 30 seconds to target, Tae-Young reported, setting the final detonation sequence. Doctor, Sunmi Cho activated her solar destabilization device at the same moment. The system's star began to flare violently, sending deadly radiation across space. Ship shields throughout the system started failing under the intense energy. "All ships, take cover behind planets or large asteroids," Boram ordered. "Radiation storm incoming." The Vorthon ships were not prepared for this. Their rigid tactics did not include dealing with an unstable star. Many of their vessels were caught in open space when the radiation hit, their crews dying as their shields failed. Tae-Young was only seconds away from his target when multiple Vorton energy beams hit his ship. The Earthbreaker began to break apart, but it was too late to stop him. "This is for Earth," he shouted as his ship smashed into the planet-killer weapon. The explosion was visible from other star systems. The nuclear weapon destroyed not only the planet-killer but also the space station it was attached to and dozens of Vorthon ships nearby. The blast was so bright it temporarily blinded anyone looking directly at it. When the light faded, the most dangerous weapon in the Vorthon Empire was gone, but the battle was not over yet. War Prime Veltar ordered his remaining ships to destroy Earth's fleet, even if it meant killing his own damaged vessels caught in the radiation. But his crews were beginning to disobey orders. Many Vorthon soldiers had never seen their empire losing before, and they were afraid. "War Prime," said his fleet commander, "we have lost over half our ships. The rebels control most of the system. Request permission to retreat." Veltar looked at his tactical display in disbelief. His mighty fleet was being defeated by an alliance of species he had considered weak and primitive. The humans had not just won a battle, they had inspired a galactic revolution. "No retreat," he ordered. "Fight to the last ship." But it was Admiral Boram Kang who ended the war. Her ship, badly damaged but still fighting, approached the Vorthon command vessel under a flag of truce. "War Prime Veltar," she said over an open channel, "your fleet is defeated. Your empire is in rebellion. Your planet killer is destroyed. I offer you one chance to surrender with honor." Veltar appeared on her screen. The proud alien leader looked old and defeated. His yellow eyes had lost their glow. "What terms do you offer, human?" "Freedom for all the species your empire has enslaved. Democratic governments for all former Vorthon worlds. And peace between our peoples." Veltar was quiet for a long moment. He could continue fighting, but he would only get more of his people killed. The humans had already proven they could not be conquered. "I surrender," he said finally. "But answer me this, Admiral. How did your primitive species defeat an empire that has ruled for 1,000 years? Boram smiled. "You made one. Mistake, War Prime. You warned us once that we weren't ready for the galaxy. You were wrong. The galaxy wasn't ready for us. The surrender was broadcast across the entire galaxy. On hundreds of worlds, enslaved peoples celebrated their freedom. The mighty Vorthan Empire, which had seemed invincible for centuries, had fallen to an alliance led by humans who refused to give up. Commander Jihai An, who had survived the battle aboard a damaged cruiser, was chosen to officially accept the Vorthan surrender. She stood on the bridge of the Vorthan flagship, surrounded by alien leaders from dozens of species. "Today we have proven something important," she said to the gathered representatives. "No empire is too big to fall. No people are too small to fight back. And no tyrant is stronger than free beings working together." The words were recorded and broadcast throughout known space. They became the founding principles of the new Galactic Alliance that replaced the Vorthan Empire. 5 years. Later, the galaxy was a very different place. The Vorthan Empire had been peacefully divided into dozens of democratic federations. Former enemies now worked together on trade, science, and exploration. Ambassador Hyunju Baek represented Earth in the new Galactic Council. She often smiled when she remembered how the war had started, with aliens trying to scare humanity into staying home. "The funny thing," she told a reporter, "is that we probably would have been happy to make friends peacefully. But when someone threatens us, we get stubborn." Captain Tae-ho Kim, now an old man, had become a teacher at the Galactic Military Academy. Students from dozens of species came to learn human tactics and philosophy. His favorite lesson was always the same. Fear is just another enemy to defeat, and humans have been conquering enemies since we climbed down from the trees with sharp sticks and unreasonable confidence. The students, Human, Kalari, Thulon, Mindari, and even some young Vorthans, would laugh and take notes. They were learning to think like humans, to never give up, to find hope in impossible situations, and to smile in the face of danger. The galaxy had learned an important lesson from the war. When you warn humanity once, you better be prepared for their answer, because humans don't respond to threats with fear or surrender. They respond with fire in their weapons, steel in their spines, and an unshakable grin that says, "Try us." And sometimes, when the odds are impossible and the situation is hopeless, that grin is enough to change the entire galaxy.